Everything is not funny. They will play the fun. I play. My neighbor press one. He goes the fun apart.
ABC, Nigeria, from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom.
This one like today is all tumbling. I'm doing water. Everything is not funny. They will play the fun. I play. My neighbor press one. He goes the fun apart.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Moses. Okay, speaking to us. How are we doing this evening? As I did promise us that I would come, and here I am live. For the past 2 days, I haven't been live for obvious reason. You know, I told us my whole system, my main computer, my MacBook, I don't know, maybe Apple is playing caro with our head. For some reason, that system wasn't working optimally. So we needed to enforce, energize, and source for a new one. And, you know, made the request, no one took the offer. But here we have finally are here now. And I hope everything that has to do with my camera going, you know, back, white, black, sometimes is now low. And because that is now resolved, I think, hold on, I need to get more in it. Because that's now resolved, then we can now come back and do analysis as we used to. So I say once more, everyone, welcome to Njenje Media TV. My name is Manzes, okay? And if you're joining me for the first time, please, by all means, click subscribe and share this stream. Now, what is going to be happening this evening, people, is, as the topic suggests, we will be looking at Governor Ottom and Fayose for the fact that they are not supporting Atiku Abubakar, you know, because they supported Nyesom Wike, who lost. And actually, Governor Ottom was the person who yesterday, in an interview with Arise TV, made it very clear that in a bid to get to the vice presidential ticket, you know, 17 people were selected to select the VP, which we get. So all this while Wike was saying, I'm not going to be VP, I'm not going to be VP, it's actually lie. The reason why he's now angry, traveled to Turkey, according to Governor Ottom, is that he was being selected, you know, he was 14 out of 17 people selected him, but Atiku didn't really listen to him or to them and made his own choice. Therefore, he's not happy. And for the fact that he's not happy, he has buggered up. He has gone to Turkey on holiday. You see what we say? We cannot develop our place enough to, you know, holiday home. I don't know. Obviously, he's been doing a lot, but the question is, has he done enough actually in River State that anyone could actually come to River State to holiday on? Recall that when Donald Duke of Cross River was the governor of Cross River, he was able to, within a space of 6 years, do enough in Calabar and environ in River State, in Cross River State, that Cross River became a place of destination. What it means that when you have a purposeful and focused leadership, we can actually do it. It can actually happen. And, you know, it's no longer skyrocket science. There are people who have actually done it, so it is possible. Now, this evening, we will, as I said, begin to look at these, you know, opportunities, and also we will begin to review these and understand better, because what we do here is to explore the truth behind the headlines. Now, for many of you, as I promised us many months ago, on my visit to Ebonyi, or to revisit Ebonyi State and show us the Ebonyi State International Airport, please, we published today the video. It's a short video. It's not up to 15 minutes. We published the video of my visit to Ebonyi State. So I would encourage us to find time to look at the Ebonyi State International Airport and that which the governor is doing there. And I can only say, as a man of infrastructure, as a man who loves development, that every state should, have simultaneously something more than that. But again, in the land of the blind, only one man becomes the lead. One man becomes what? You tell me. But let me quickly come. And as well, are you aware that Ekweremadu today also appeared in London court? The case, as I told us, is becoming clearer. The case is becoming clearer by day. And yesterday, during the weekend, we found out that Tinubu had no certificate, no primary school living certificate, no secondary school certificate, but he was able to do his university in Chicago, which Chicago State University is now come out to say, yes, he attended. In doing that, it is also laughable that his own deputy, Matawale, the one he's picked as his deputy, also have no certificate. And you ask yourself, what manner of nation is this? How can we be a certificate-less people? It's because we allowed it happen the first time. Before now, we had a man who had no certification. All we had was attestation. Oh, the principal had an attestation. You can have attestation, but you cannot have a certificate. But be that as may, we are indeed have gone from top to bottom. Now let's jump into the analysis.
ABC, Nigeria, from top to bottom.
So APC has taken Nigeria from top to bottom. Buhari made his promises known. We did not know that this was what he promised us. Recall that even Wike himself, when he was asked, why does he want to become Nigerian president? He told us that he wants to become Nigeria's problem because we are in problem.
Why do you want to become Nigeria's president? I want to become Nigeria's problem because, one, we're in problems.
So we are a problem. It's not me that said it. Wike also confirmed that we are in problem. Even Buhari himself knows that things are not working out. He asked us in 2014, if we are happy that dollar is closing up to 200, if we're happy that insecurity is happening. But today, I don't know if he sees this video, if he would only send DSS, or would he say anything to me?
Are our children safe when they go to school? Are our parents safe when we leave them at home? Is the Naira in your bank account of greater value today than it was 4 years ago?
So, answer this question. I don't know. I don't know. This is the only time that you can say that if you bring Asari Dokubo to this studio, he will tell you that, man, looking at that man, you say, 70-year-old man.
How many times would they tell you before you know that Nigeria is not for you? Ah! Now they never leave you. They have left you behind.
You see, now they have left us behind. They have left us behind 4 years. 4 years. The only thing they've been doing to us is that they keep assuring us. Assure you, assure you, assure you, assure you. I don't want to laugh. Stop it. Stop it. They keep assuring us, and you're like,
I assure you that our government.
But I assure you.
I assure you. I want to assure you.
I assure you.
See, they've been assuring us, assure you, assure you, assure you, assure you. Better Kukuma use the assurance, you know, for whatever we want it to happen. But again, you know, politicians, I see the camping in the horizon. Ottom has fired the first shot, that he has gone into praying. Ottom is saying he is now praying. He is now praying that until he hears from God. I say, these people, every time they tell us they hear from God, I don't know if it is missed call that they hear, or is there anything that they hear that we don't know? Let us actually listen to Ottom.
A candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar.
I told you that I am praying. I've gone into hibernation. And I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm praying. So at the end, if God directs me, as he has always done, if God directs me that I should support Atiku, why should I not do it? After all, he's my party man. But I'm waiting for him. There are more that is expected. I expect him to do. I expect him to reach out to Wike, who came second. And he denied him the popular view of PDP members. 14 out of 17 say that Wike should be the VP. In his wisdom, he chose that he should be Governor Okowa. Governor Okowa is a nice man, he's my friend, and I have no problem with him. But if we are in a democratic era, 14 people out of 17 say that he should be Wike, and he, in his wisdom, gave it to Okowa, I expect more explanation. I expect him to talk to Wike first, that we're supporting. I expect him to even reach out to some of us so that together we can work as a party. So, but the bottom line is that for me, I'm into the nation, and I'm praying. At the end, whatever God directs me, I can assure you that I will do.
Now, this guy, my good friend here, Mohammed, is saying, Maz, I should go ahead and stop abusing the president. Mohammed, I don't know in which planet you live. I don't know where they abuse that I have abused your president. What I have said here, I played a clip of what Mr. President has said in his own, with his own mouth. How is that an abuse? Mohammed, I ask you. Mohammed Amin, you said that I abuse your president. Now, I abuse your president. How, Mohammed, I may ask you? The same thing. Okay, if that is an abuse. Now, let us ask Buhari. When there was insecurity in Benue, and the former IG was sent to, one was saying there was insecurity, what did he say? Then Buhari, come tell us what you said.
Are we likely to use a different approach in the fight against insecurity, especially kidnapping, which is a big issue now, sir?
No, I have just seen the IG. I think he is still losing weight, so I think he's working very hard.
So from IG is losing weight. Man says, okay, I've lost about 3 or 4 kilos because I'm now fasting. I don't eat in the morning again because it's these days and time, no one has enough to eat. So I hope Amin will not say that Mr. President, they ask him question A, he's answering question B, that I am insulting Mr. President. Aminu, would you also tell me that the former governor of Edo State, in the person of Adams Oshomono, who said that anyone who comes to the APC, his sins are forgiven? I hope I'm not also.
Tony Ilwobe means I don't do bad. And in fact, once you have joined APC, all your sins are forgiven. Once you have joined APC, all your sins are forgiven.
Well, again, Aminu, I hope I've not abused this man. I hope also I'm not abusing the army when I say that the army are telling us that if you're a member of Boko Haram and you eventually repent, and when you repent, you could become the president of Nigeria. I hope I'm not abusing anyone.
An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country.
Okay, I didn't say that. That is how I like to abuse people. I like to abuse people with facts. And when I abuse people with fact, I have no apologies. But again, the only thing I will say, I will bring my brother, the Grammarian, to reply you, Aminu. My brother, Aya, reply my good friend, so that we can continue.
Before I go on, let me postulate from the Franz Fanonian dictum, which stipulates that the dialectics of reconciling two conflicting ideas is the algebra of revolution. The overbearing intervention of the state government had further exacerbated oporombium.
The oporombium. I hope the oporombium is another part of periwinkle that we can use cooking. You get it?
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
Okay, if you don't get it, forget about it. Let's come back now. I have indeed my good friend and brother, Aminu, I love you so much. Mohammed Aminu, I love you so much. But again, please do not take it. What I will never do here, as I was trained and as an elder and as a titled chief in the great Igbo nation, Onyebo for that, I would never, never abuse anyone. However, I can always look you in the face, even when I crack that as a joke, and tell you the truth. And the truth remains that Mr. President, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has indeed, in his own words, not mine, in his own words, not mine, he has done this to us. Aya, come.
APC! APC from top to bottom! Top to bottom.
I mean, to tell me, did APC really bring you from top to bottom? 2014. I recall when I buy cars from America, I change money at that time between 143 to 158, depending on whoever you were speaking to. Today, I can no longer dream of buying any car from America, even at a dollar exchange of 615. That is 3x, even 4x actually. And that is something we have to celebrate. So when someone talks about it, it appears that that individual is abusing the president. Listen, replace Buhari. Let me tell you something. Sometimes, because I understand the religion and the region of the president, there are things we actually don't hammer much. Were this to be Jonathan, to be the president of this nation, who has ever made a casket? Who has ever made a coffin? Who has ever, gone ahead and write the manner of rubbish that was written against Jonathan? But here, we respect him. He promised us he was going to declare his assets. Today, you ask him to declare his assets. It becomes that you are insulting a president. But he promised us. Yet the same man, the same person, the same individual, has a brother in the person of Umusa Yaradua from the same state. He never promised us that he was going to fight corruption. He never promised us that he was going to give amnesty. He never promised anyone what, heaven and earth. He had what we then call the 10-point agenda. 10 find agenda. Find agenda. What did he do? When you see a man with kind heart, he granted amnesty to those blowing up pipeline. He said, in his word, and I quote him, I paraphrase, if I was in your shoes, I would do the same thing. Why wouldn't you? How can all you be in your place and you're going hungry? And all people do is to export, and eat money, export and eat money. At some point, you go gaga. The same man, Umaru Musa Yaradua, God bless his soul, a man of peace. Many people would have said, we vote Umaru Musa Yaradua, because people in the book can see afar. He was a good man. No one. He did not promise you he will show his assets. But the man, after he printed his assets, after he signed it, after he did whatever he did, you know what that man did? He made photocopies. Press conference, he gave them his assets declaration form. Go and find out, go and dig. But here, remember, if I play that video now, maybe I might be insulting your president. He promised us that he was going to make sure that he declares his asset publicly. He said he was going to do it publicly. Not only that, he said that he was going to public, and he said that anyone that he appoints must do so. Now tell me, do you have a copy of Buhari's asset declaration? Talk less of those he hired. Even Osibajo did a better job in asset declaration, though all of them did it. Now, tell me how you build confidence with such actions. You recall that in this same country, in Ikoyi, a flat, dollars, thousands, millions of dollars were discovered in this country. 4 or 5 years later, tell me who owns those monies? Who owns them? Where are those monies? We are told that body language ran Nigeria and ran Nigeria fantastically. That people were returning money. Okay, tell me today, where are those monies? That is what end our good friend, the lying machine of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to the point that he even at some point goes out to tell people in a public statement that even his grandchildren can now ask him, say, grandfather, we are told that you are now called Liar Mohammed. Is that true? Maybe I have just insulted.
When my 7-year-old grandson called me and said, Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why did they call you Liar Mohammed? I looked at him. What do you say to a 7-year-old son? How do you explain politics to him? So I said, no, don't mind them.
Okay, I'll move to the next topic, but before I do, I would play us a video of Buhari in 2014. Buhari, maybe I do. My good friend Mohammed Aminu might also get angry because he may not like it that Buhari himself, with his own mouth, said
the government has failed to do its principal duty of protecting life or property of all beings inside its territory in Nigeria. And what happened, as I said,
the government has failed in the singular and the only principal duty, which is to protect lives and properties. This was said to Blood Jonathan. Then Mohammed, I ask you, has Buhari's government delivered its promise to you to protect your life, your properties, of your siblings, wherever they might be in Nigeria? Recently, the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, said something on Sunday while he was addressing Catholic Church in Lagos. He said, show me where Northerners or Muslims buy petrol cheaper. Show me where they live with much security. Show me where they live or where they work, where they sell bread cheaper. A lot of Nigerians will want to go there. Let's not reduce these issues to region, religion, or because he is a man that wears the same turban that you wear. Nigeria isn't working. Indeed, in my view, as an objective observer, Nigeria is not working. But it's not that it is impossible to make it work. The only thing that I see with previous government, and sadly, and heartbreakingly so, with current government, is also that they have no, or rather, I put it this way, in order to be safe, they appear to have no single intention to make it work. Because if not, by now, we should have seen the man who stole 80 billion. Do you know what that means? Millions of dollars. 80 billion. Accountant General of your federation. And we are still here talking about it. I don't know why those individuals, tell me, all of them, why haven't we hanged all of them? East, north, south, west, I don't bloody care. My dad steal that money from your pot. Please hang him upside down, I'll cut the rope. What manner of nonsense are we talking? Manner of nonsense. Anyway, people, so let's come back to the thing. Now, you have listened to Ottom. Ottom made salient point here. But my takeaway from Ottom's comment is as follows. It means that Wike was actually interested in becoming a vice. So what Wike was saying, oh, I don't want to, if you give me vice, I'm not interested in vice. I said Wike was fluking. He wasn't serious. He wasn't serious. He was really, really looking forward to having that vice when he failed. The moment Atiku didn't, so he got angry. He got angry. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wake up one day, I see some of them have joined ZA. You know the party I mean? Zaleva Party. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one day I wake up, some of them have joined Zaleva Party. Now let's listen to this. Here we are going to listen to Ottom Fayose, the campaign to the. Did he go to the APC or were only supporting the APC candidate? I don't know. Now let's play.
But indeed, he gave destruction and pain to a lot of people. It just shows you that no matter how much you hide, the long arm of the law will catch up with you someday. But most importantly, I think one thing that will rest with R. Kelly is conscience. Guess what? That thing called conscience is an open wound.
Absolutely. Well said, Rafai.
And let it be remembered by everyone. That
so that's the story of R. Kelly, but after that you then have...
Let no man call himself happy until he carries...
President Muhammadu Buhari in 2023, Fayose, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party, was one of the presidential hopefuls that contested the primary of the opposition party. Taking to Twitter, the former governor wrote in Yoruba language the words, "Our South lo kan," which means it is the turn of the South, a reference to the catchphrase attributed to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress. Let's take some reactions. Well, Oluwakore wrote, "This isn't surprising. He's been softly canvassing for Asiwaju even before the primaries. He should be told to call Tinubu." The just concluded election in Ekiti was another indicator. APC coast to victory because of his role. Fayose and politicians are generally in it for personal interests. Well, Fortunate wrote, "The PDP has already broken the fragile pillar on which it's standing. They've lost relevance from the few who still revert them. This is the lesson that I've learned from this. Don't change the cause of equity and justice." Or president since 1999. You know, the sudden U-turn, obviously, is a shock for a lot of Nigerians. I don't know if it's a shock because it is politics as usual. But a lot of people are also saying that, you know, he's probably, like my first Twitter user wrote, he's probably also campaigning for Tinubu. And now, you know, he's talking about power shift to the South. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think he's actually been really consistent. He decided to run for president under the platform of PDP, saying that it should go, the presidency should go to the South, which he, of course, is from. Because I remember him actually saying that was it 2018 PDP primary was an all-northern affair, that one that was held in Port Harcourt. So that this primary this year should have been an all-southern affair. That obviously did not happen. Yeah. So he has been consistent. I think the issue for me, what I can tell, when he lost at the primary, he did congratulate the presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. What this suggests to me then was that he was able to accept his defeat with equanimity, but what he's objecting to is what I'm inferring, the sort of overlooking of Governor Wike as Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's running mate. Yeah. I think that's the issue.
You see, that's the thing here. It is always good to always stand by the on the path of truth. Ottom Fayose here, I would have taken him more serious if he was insistent that power should go to this. Recall that the Southern government, sometimes these people make something that, you really ask yourself, I mean, are these people really serious? Ottom Fayose, he knew he was going nowhere. And actually, many of us are aware and many of us knew who bought the form for him, who he was coming there to be, to be a spoiler for. But at the end of the day, as they say in Igbo, you see it now, the basket has turned. If we had, after the Asaba declaration, if they had insisted on that, but again, nobody wanted to step down for anybody. Oh, because it is just like Dr. Bonneonu said during the APC convention. He made a passionate appeal. He said himself in 1999, he stepped down so that the Yoruba man would take over. PDP, even when Obasanjo was in prison, no one knew how PDP was formed. Abubakar Remi, Dr. Ekweremadu, these were people who formed it. And people are saying Wike is funding PDP, and so what? So if Wike funds PDP, every other person should run away. If were that to be the case, in 1999, Obasanjo shouldn't have been the president of Nigeria. Alex Ekweremadu should have been the president because at that point, he was the one that was seen as the arrowhead. Most of the meeting happened in Modotel. They were meeting in Enugu, they were meeting in Oko, they were meeting in Kano. But again, there are times you come for the sake of national unity, let your ego, let your pride subdue and let you come down for someone else. Here we are. Here we are now because the person prompting them didn't win. We not go hear what. Abi?
For him, he seems to be one of those, like Governor Ottom, who would have preferred Governor Wike. I think PDP would have managed to hold things together, even though, yes, a lot of people wanted a southern presidential candidate from the PDP, especially a southeast presidential candidate from the PDP, if he had gone with the popular choice of the party, which was Governor Wike. As Governor Ottom told us here yesterday, they had a 17-member committee, 14 chose Governor Wike. So why did Atiku Abubakar, sort of have this departure from their own views? Now, with regards to who he's supporting, I don't think it's an accident that he says our South Lukon, quoting APC's presidential flag bearer. And I'm wondering, what is the role here of party discipline? Because this is flagrant in terms of, going against the will of your party. Is he now going to defect, like you said, or is he going to stay in PDP while making these disgruntled noises from within the ranks? I'm not sure, but there does seem to be something rotten in the state of PDP.
I can tell you, Fayose detests APC so much that I see that he will not go, but he will be in there. The only thing PDP will do in the next coming days, if no resolution comes, they might begin to look at him and say, we are going to sanction you for the comments, the incendiary comment he will be making in the next coming days. That I can tell you for sure. But he giving PDP to APC, well, very unlikely to happen. Would he work for it? Oh, yes, 1 million times. Forget all these things. We know the Koni midnight meetings and all the rest that is happening amongst them. You see, that's where sometimes the place matter than my brothers and my people from the Southeast. There are times you zip it, or when you want to talk, you talk something sensible. That's why the comments made by Ekweremadu, in as much as he's right in his own senses, he's right as a PDP party man, but it wasn't expedient. That comment was necessarily uncalled for at that point.
PDP. Even look at the Osun campaign. They've kicked off the Osun election campaign. And of how many PDP governors are there? About 12 or 13. Only 2 showed up. Where is their presidential flag bearer? He's still abroad. Only Governor Okowa and Darius Ishaku showed up in Osun State. After that, not very good showing in Ekiti State, where PDP came third. I'd have imagined it will be all hands on deck so they don't lose Osun. It appears that there's really something fishy going on in PDP, and Governor Fayose has never been one who to be reticent. Is letting us know that that is in fact the case.
Well, what does that say about Atiku Abubakar at this point, not being even able to unite the party or for people to even support him at this point, Rufai?
It just shows that the PDP is standing on very wobbly legs and they want to run a marathon. That's the sad reality. So many divisions. We can start pointing how fragmented the party is. Governor Ottom coming on air yesterday just shows a very big division, line drawn in the middle. A lot of people are disgruntled. And like I said, the PDP should watch it. Fayose is saying, hey, our South to local. Obviously, you know that's a dog whistle. You know where he's calling people to come. Mm-hmm. If I hear it's defected tomorrow, it's not defected. I wouldn't be surprised. Just a Nigerian politician surprise you for anything. Nigerian politicians don't surprise me. So it just shows that all is not well in the camp of the PDP. Just like they couldn't summon up all the governors to come together. They didn't even do anything in Ekiti State. Right. Now in Osun State, you're saying only 2 showed up. So as we speak today, and that's why it's a shame that we couldn't get their party spokesperson to come here and talk to us. As we speak today, the PDP is, except the people otherwise, that's my reaction. That's
well, basically, all the political.
Now, do you now understand? Many of you who are saying, "Oh, why did Peter Obi leave? There are people when they sit down, they tell you, like the elders would always tell us when we were growing up, that the things that they see sitting, when we climbed the Iroko tree, we wouldn't see them. We think they were joking. When injustice ties rapper, it hasn't started though. It go reach everybody. See, this thing na shit. You don't hit silly. Now so they do like fan. You know those big fan, helicopter fan, where if you know you never chop early in the morning, things fit carry you blow. That's how injustice does. Everybody will have a taste of it. The 2 parties. There was this interview, I think by BBC, we published it. You listen to Ned Nwoko and Joe Iboko talking. You hear some things, you think, man, why didn't these people they talk to myself? How? But again, because Joe Iboko is blaming the PDP for not getting a Southeast, making it that Southeast would get it. And then they turned around and told him, and your party, why didn't your party utilize that opportunity? Is it that we don't have competent people in the APC? Nah, no, we don't. Yet you want to build a nation. Then I have some people like myself who ask you, in building this nation, where is equity and fairness in it? If there is anything like equity and fairness, had we done these things, then you know that by 2031, anybody that comes from Southeast or whatever, say you want to contest, you mama the person, flog the person, because it's not your turn. Even states, it has been cemented within states. You will now look at someone, you will now look at yourself as someone with who turned the cloth upside down and wore. Even in my state of Anambra, the other time it was the turn of the North to produce the governor before Soludo came in. And if you come from the South or Central, everybody will be looking at you, Haba. Why are you doing this? But this will say this is the Anambra North. That's why you saw Obazedem during the time of Obiano's second term. You saw Obazedem, who is from the North. You saw Obiano himself. You saw, what's it called? This doctor, that's the jumpologist, that's now, can't remember his name again, that's now jumped up to 4 or 5 parties now. But here at the national level. Anyway, let me conclude this one by listening to about it.
Still have up to about 6-7 months before the election. And the assumption will be correct to say that within that period, there's still a window for reorganization or negotiations for dialogue, for appeals.
The number one thing that you need to look for in property
now, when you
is
look
location,
at this
location,
now, you can now understand what is indeed happening here. Okay, quickly let me bring that back again.
After the primaries. And after the primaries, it will have been a good thing for the candidate that emerged to reach out to the aggrieved governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who came second, having also been denied the opportunity of being a running mate as recommended to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. You know the politics of that. Clearly, some people don't consider him compatible. Governor Ottom was saying yesterday that we know that Wike can be like this, can be like that, but that's not the way it works. If he's made the running mate and if he becomes the
Ruben Abati, stop your analysis. Wike can be like this. Wike can. If I go to Kazaure now and bring my good friend Kazaure, he will tell you that some things are going like this.
It's doing like this. It's doing like this. It's blinking, shaking, blinking.
So Wike can be blinking, Wike can be shaking. But maybe they've looked at him and said, Oga, if he didn't dare, he didn't dare. So it's not a question of, okay, make him, he will change. Maybe they've looked at him, honestly. I'm not suggesting anything. But I'm only saying that they might have looked at him and said...
If you don't know what to do with your head, you don't know what to do with your head. If he didn't dare, he didn't dare. He didn't dare.
So, the story is that Wike has lost the election. Those who have won the election are not considering him to be, Dr. Governor Ottom put it a little bit mildly, not to upset anyone, and by saying, didn't dare. But, let us go to something I found more interesting. And that is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has no primary school certificate, has no secondary school certificate. We think that is one. Suddenly, we found out that his own vice, the person he has selected, comes out as well to tell us, myself, I no have. And you think, isn't this a joke? Why are we punishing our kids to go to school there? If these men cannot even tell us we have one, we don't have to. Now let's listen to their right.
Mr. Ibrahim Masari, to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, have revealed that the placeholder, like the principal, Senator Bola Tinubu, could not produce requisite certificates to back his stated academic qualifications. The Form EC9, Perry Masari in particular, revealed that he did not attach any certificate in support of his educational qualifications. Masari rather attached a sworn affidavit claiming the loss of vital documents, including his school certificates. However, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma said the certificate debate around his party's presidential duel is of little or no importance, stressing that Tinubu's past electoral records will suffice. The choice of vice president has become a tough one for Tinubu, following the strong division in the country along religious and ethnic lines. A lot to chat about this morning, Tundu.
I don't even know what movie it's from or where the saying comes from when people say, am I a joke to you? This is exactly how I feel when I read about this. I mean, come on. We're now descending into farce. And this is our electoral process. This is our democracy that people fought for and died for. This is the future of this country. Is this a huge joke?
Tundu, I can feel you because that's, your dad died in 1993. 94. No, sir. Your dad won the election in 1993, eventually died in 1998. And this is what they've reduced it. They tell, I don't have certificate, or me too, I don't have certificate.
I'm sorry, people lose documents. It happens all the time. When you're moving house or a fire or whatever, it does happen. I'm not trying to be unsympathetic here, but it's when you add this to the fact that the presidential candidates' documents were also lost, it becomes sort of like, oh, let me just borrow your excuse. That's what it starts to look like. And then we also have the fact that we have a placeholder in the first case. We're not really supposed to have a placeholder in the first case if this whole process was taken with the kind of seriousness that it ought to. So that's really all I have to say about this. I think this is extremely unfortunate, extremely embarrassing. say that I also have a certificate. What I think the job of the placeholder or vice presidential candidate is to support the ticket, is to boost the presidential candidate's chances, not to make the whole thing even more ridiculous than it actually ordinarily is. This is really unfortunate.
Okay, I think that the whole world must be laughing at us.
Of course.
And so clearly, it looks like a joke, but a very expensive one and a very embarrassing one for us as Nigerians. That you will have in a political party the presidential standard bearer who claim that his certificates have been stolen or that he did not even go to school.
No, unknown soldiers.
But he ended up with a degree from Chicago State University. And then his placeholder, when INEX is running mate, because that's the name that has been submitted, until he withdraws or he resigns from that position, or, the law is properly followed in that regard, within the time frame window that is available. Now, why is it very embarrassing? You had the standard bearer of the party, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, issue a certificate. You now have the placeholder, Mr. Basari, you cannot become a doctor except you are a quack doctor, except you have been to medical school and you've gone through the rigorous process of training. Which is why it is so ironic and again scandalous that they are the biggest jobs in the land. Political leadership requires the smallest level of qualification. Most of the people, we're citing the example of top people in APC. Do you know how many other people in House of Reps, in Senate, in other positions in most of these political parties, who also will come around tomorrow and say that the snakes swallowed their certificates, or that termites ate their paper, or rats went into the safe where they kept their certificates, and the rats, made away with their qualifications. Okay, whatever the story is, those stories will not make sense to most right-thinking members of our community. If your certificate disappeared, if your certificate got swallowed by a snake, if indeed you went to the school, the thing to do, you go and get a police report. After getting police report, you get an affidavit. If the school from which you claim to have graduated exists, you go there and submit, you get another certificate. It happens to people. People who need their certificates.
Exactly, it happens to people. But why is it that when it is the case of Nigeria, suddenly we hear these flimsy excuses, and as if that many Nigerians don't really care. But let's hear more views on that.
Hey. What all of this reminds me of is a 2003 comedy, movie, or film, anyone you want, starring Osita Iheme and Chinedu Ekezieze.
Akinhapopo.
It is a very good friend of mine and a huge fan of this show, called Akina Ukwa, the story and the adventures of Aki and Popo. That's what politics in this country have become.
Money don't jiggle.
Oh, they are Akinokwa, and that is what our politics has actually become, and it is indeed sad that this is what our politics has become. But be that as it may, you now know that the APC presidential aspirant and the deputy presidential aspirant both have no certificate. Now, we will come to the last segment of this presentation this evening, and we will be concluding with Ekweremadu, whom today appeared in a British court. Okay, he started exactly. Best has, you're right. He started with Buhari. That's why it must continue. Why not? It mustn't, it has to continue. It is indeed sad. Even Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, nobody is raising an eyebrow as to his own qualification. Why must it be only APC? APC appears to be in love with certificate-less people. But that is what it is. Certificate from, at least it says certificate from Xerox University. But anyway, let's, as updates from Ekweremadu, for many of you who wish to know, let's basically get the Channels TV guys who were in the court today, because that case is really progressing. Now we are getting clarity. From this video here, you will see that actually clarity is coming out, and it appears it's heading towards what I said in the first day. I said there was no way they would knowingly engage a child of 15 years in this. It appears the young man in question, because now for the first time we now know actually how the arrest happened, that the young man ran away from the house he was kept, that how police got involved because he was asking questions to the doctors and yada yada yada. Again, from the report as well, it appears that Nigerian High Commission in London is now also getting involved in what, in Channel's view, what appears to be, migrating into what they call diplomatic row. But let's get these and let's listen to this.
Our correspondent Juliana Laika is in the UK to give us an update on the situation concerning Senator Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice over allegations of organ harvesting. Juliana?
Good morning. Well, I'm actually live outside Uxbridge Magistrates' Calls because, as to be expected, this case involving the former Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu alongside his wife Beatrice has twisted and turned so much, and it has swiftly evolved over the past 72 hours. And now the last time that I spoke to the team, we believed that a second hearing was supposed to be on the 7th of July, but I spoke to a source last night who informed me that there appeared to be some sort of fast track, and the senator did appear in front of a magistrate just moments ago. He did appear comfortably well, I suppose, as well as one could be. He came into the dock wearing a grey tracksuit bottom. He spoke twice to confirm his name and to confirm his date of birth. There was a full delegation from the Nigeria High Commission in Britain in attendance, as well as, I believe, 2 of his adult sons. His wife Beatrice, who her defence did ask if the court could wait for her to appear alongside her husband, because she hasn't seen him, of course, since the sentencing, the court hearing last week Thursday, but that wasn't accepted, and then the appeal did proceed. And now what the prosecution claim is that no bail could be applied to Mr. Ekweremadu. They said that he is, of course, a very powerful man and indeed a flight risk, and the case does involve a child and modern slavery. And now we know that social media has been awash with so many suggestions, lots of misinformation, many of which I can't repeat today. But what the prosecution are claiming is that a 15-year-old child was allegedly picked up off the streets in Lagos by a criminal gang a couple of months ago for the intention of organ harvesting. I believe a passport.
Now, are you seeing the trajectory here? It's no longer, there was a social media post. See, I don't know why Nigerians like faking stuff. Someone created a Facebook account with the name, or changed a Facebook old Facebook account to the name of this guy. I started writing that he was working in a building site somewhere in the southeast, and they picked him up. But here you can see the story the boy said in the court being repeated by this reporter here is a different thing entirely. That this is actually in Lagos. The boy was met in Lagos. Like I keep telling us, we haven't had the last of these cases. A lot is still going to be unearthed. At this point, we're only looking at this young at Ekweremadu now. When the satellite turns on this young man, we may hear things that we can actually begin to close our ears.
An application was made to the British Consulate in Nigeria, and it was granted. I believe on the application form, they did indeed let them know that he was going to be coming into the UK for the purpose of organ donation, which I believe is legal here.
No. If I stop here, what the woman is saying here, in the application that he made to United Kingdom, he put it in the form that the boy is coming for an organ donation. Then I pause a little bit. Okay. If I want to traffic you for organ donation, do I need to tell the embassy that I'm going to traffic you for organ donation? I don't know. You think?
On arrival here, he had a consultation at the Royal Free Hospital, which I believe is in Whitechapel. And this 15-year-old individual was in front of the consultant, pretty nervous. Apparently, he wasn't able to answer any of the questions that the consultant was asking, which raised and caused an alarm. I believe there is some information that the police have, some evidence which corroborates part of this story. I believe some text messages were seen between the Ekweremadu family and this allegedly 15-year-old child.
I like at this point, because allegedly 15-year-old child means the child is not 15, and actually is not a child in this case. I am aware and I agree that there might be some things that might have been done the Nigerian way, where all the T's and dots are not being crossed. Because you see what the British have done here. They've also separated Ekweremadu from the wife. That means questioning will be happening independently. This person, they will be asking questions. So eventually, there will be a team to merge and look at what they are saying individually. And this case is going to be interesting. I'm telling you, this is not Nigeria. This is not like in a country where someone who stole our money in Abia State, 7.6 billion naira, and the court of competent jurisdiction sends the individual to jail under the aeroplane driver on technicalities. Suddenly, the person becomes a free man. And those he raped without any form of protection, those he raped, their own money, what did they do? They went to Imo State Airport, hired singers, hired dancers, with our moms and dads that they have left in abject poverty, and got them to start dancing that a hero is coming home. I say, which hero? Which hero for those who stole our money? Will this mess that is currently happening now, would they have happened if in the last 16 years, if in the last 22, 23 years, PDP have been in governance in Enugu, if they had built the best of the hospitals, if they have built the best of the hospital or converted the UNTH Enugu to world-class hospital that can do open heart surgery and all these vital organ transplant, would these things have happened? You may begin to understand me why I feel excited when I go to Ebonyi and I see the type of world-class, when I say I mean it, world-class hospital in the form of, in that King David School of, School of Medical Sciences. And you stand there and I ask myself, Wilman says, okay, with the equipment I saw there, with the things I saw there, with knowing that lights will never go because there are solar panels littered everywhere, would I be comfortable for someone, a very qualified surgeon, to open myself up in that hospital if need be? I will say yes, and yes, and yes. Because that's what it is. Why can't we have that replicated in the 36 states of the Federation? Why? This mess is as a result of the failure. Those of you who are still in politics and intending to go into politics watching me right now, learn one or two lessons from this. Build your home. Build your home. No one is going to do it for you. No one. We had a president, may God bless his soul, in the person of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. He died of kidney failure. Today, Katsina State, with a president from the same Katsina knowing that he's frail, that he has medical conditions, did he, in the last 7 years, try to build any world top-class hospital in Katsina? Isn't it better that we built world-class hospital in Katsina? Isn't it better to fly to go into Katsina than fly into London, Turkey, or India? Isn't it cheaper to do that? What is wrong with our brain? But even the Aso Rock Clinic, to the point that the president's wife came out and told us that paracetamol, as little as paracetamol, yet billions of naira is being budgeted every single year for that hospital to run. You ask yourself, where are those monies? And we have a president who is fighting corruption. And I will have someone here tell me that when I ask this question that I disrespect the president, I say, let that president be disrespected, if that is what it takes to disrespect the president. The children, the society we abuse today, the society we abuse today will take its toll on us. Will take its toll on us. How can we be a senseless people? How? Jesus Christ, sometimes these things break. And the challenge that I see here is that it's not east, west, everywhere. Bunch of clowns. But when we then see a little light, a glimmer of hope, it appears talking about it, some will say, oh, you've been paid. You talk about Zulu, oh, you've been paid. I haven't met the man. Talk about Gombe, oh, you've been paid. Talk about Tomai, oh, you've been paid. I said, how many people will pay you? We do this here just to showcase that it is possible. Zulum, a governor, I haven't met him, I don't bloody care. But when a man does much with the little you give him, please give him that accolade. The only governor in 100 days in office, he said he was going to build 100 schools, and he did 100 freaking days, just less than 3 months. And we can see what he's doing. If you go to some states, the same Enugu we knew, Enugu was like heaven. Coming to Enugu today, sometimes you won't even recognize it. Have you ever been to places like Emene and you ask yourself, have you been to Ababa? These places you have humans. Enugu, because there is coal. We haven't figured out after the white man left how to supply water to Enugu. Today, people pay, the idiot government want to come and collect money for you to drill your own borehole with your own money, and someone, whoa, you want to pay borehole.
On arrival back to the Ekwerimadu's residence, the child fled. He was homeless for, I believe, 3 days until he made an appearance at a police station. And it was, of course, once he appeared in the police station that they decided to pursue the Deputy Senate President and his wife under at least part of the case is modern slavery. And organ harvesting. We know that the former Deputy Senate President was arrested at Heathrow Airport. I believe he was on his way back from Nigeria, but due to depart for Turkey. Now, why this gets complex? Jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is a huge issue here. The case has actually now been adjourned to July the 7th. It will be taking place at Westminster Magistrates Court. Westminster Magistrates Court is a much larger court. The senator will not appear in front of a magistrate. I believe he may be appearing now in front of a judge. But the reason why it has been adjourned is because they want to determine, they need consent, I believe, from the British Attorney General as to whether this case is going to be tried in Nigeria or whether or not it will be tried in Britain. But as I say, it is incredibly a complex case, and it does believe to have taken some sort of diplomatic stance. We did hear from the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, yesterday that he is in contact with the the Nigerian High Commissioner to Britain, Ambassador Sharafat Ishola. The consulate are helping with some sort of legal services, which is why I believe that this case was fast-tracked today. But as I said, it was a pretty packed out public gallery. I know the BBC were there, as well as other journalists, as well as 2 adult sons. But as of now, we haven't seen his wife, Beatrice, but I think it's pretty important to mention that according to the prosecution, there has been some admission from the 2 individuals. We're not sure at this stage what these admissions are, but the charges are pretty serious. And as soon as we do get more information on this case, we will bring it to you. But just to confirm, the former Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu has today appeared in front of Uxbridge Magistrates Court, charged with very serious Modern Slavery Act allegations, and he is due to reappear on Thursday, the 7th of July, outside Westminster Magistrates Court.
Okay, thank you, Juliana, for that. Obviously, you know that members of the Nigerian Senate are to be in the UK tomorrow in furtherance of trying to find a solution to this problem. Thanks a lot for that update. Our correspondent, Juliana Olayanke in the UK, concerning the Senator Ekweremadu.
So you've heard that, and this is what I talked about. At the end of the day, no matter how you look at it, I think the look of things now, because there's been some high-level diplomatic engagement going on now, I think the easiest way this case would be to argue on the case of jurisdiction. If it becomes the case of jurisdiction, he works, he goes to Nigeria, then the rest is history. If he's tried in the United Kingdom, it might not look too good. If you recall that one of the editorials written by Femi Fani-Kayode, he insinuated that this young man was paid. I do not know, because people who talk from both sides of the mouth, sometimes it's very hard to really stick and take what they say too serious. But even if that this young man, I don't know, this is Nigeria for you, because many Nigerians do not sign up, living abroad, do not sign up for organ donor. Many Nigerians, you know why? They don't think that they would ever need organs. Or even when they think, they know, okay, somebody may donate. But for them, for it to cross their mind that they will eventually could be helpful to someone else in an event that the organ might be needed for donation, they wouldn't. Therefore, if in Nigeria, it will be very hard for anyone, unless immediate family member, to donate organ for people. Therefore, it means, because of the level of development where we are and where we all come from, what it means is that it would take time. It will take time for us to get there, for people to, on their own volition. Of course, I do understand that in the United Kingdom, law says the moment you pay for something like that, not insinuating that there was a payment made, but also I cannot also imagine in Nigeria for such to happen without payments being made or some substantial financial inducement or agreement having been undertaken. So the question now that I think is been knocked off the table is that the person in question probably is very, very unlikely that he is not a minor. Second one is that he was not smuggled in because the British High Commission in Nigeria, the British Embassy knew that this young man is coming for this purpose. The only difference here and variation is that at some point he developed a cold feet. Maybe haven't spoken to one or two people, and the rest they say is history. But my final word to all of us and those who care to listen, especially those within the political realm, it is, and indeed, a time for us to think how to, irrespective of the fact that there are challenges, we must begin to look at how to better the society. Ask yourself, is that a better society that you want to leave for your children? Is this a society that you think we can live, if I go to sleep today and die, and I breathe no more, that this is the best I could do? All those monies that we acquire. When we sleep and we wake up no more, do we know where those monies have gone to? When we talk about Awolowo today, his legacies, those things he stood for, those individuals that he helped while alive for them to acquire education. When we talk about people like M.I. those things he stood for, those things that, those individuals that he helped, and those structures. That's why sometimes when I see someone coming to to the video of a Bonny State airport saying, "Oh, why are you people only talking about, why are you building structures?" I'm like, how can you develop without structure? How can you develop without structure? And I want to ask the person making that comment, have you visited Dubai before? The first time I visited Dubai was in 2003. And every year, anytime I go back to Dubai, it's still a construction site. Many years later. Next year is going to be 20 years. But since in a 20-year period, that's a permanent construction site. You can go nowhere. You cannot compete if your infrastructure is rubbish. Rubbish. And here, we can't build, we can't develop the mind. It's only when you build and develop the mind. Don't you know that when you build a library, your children, the children of the poor, everyone can learn in the same level, not given expired theories. If a Chinese child is learning about this algebra, mathematics, chemistry, physics today, it means your child could be doing the same today as well, because all are based on Web3 and internet protocols. That is the future. You can't. On no condition, you can't. Don't even attempt it. You cannot fight the future. The future is here to stay. It's either we as Africans embrace it, it's either we embrace it, especially Nigeria, because I still believe Nigeria is holding the mother continent down. The day they will begin to do the right things that they would, that they ought to do. Imagine we are Nigerians with content up here, everybody begin to migrate back home. America will be in shock. Canada will be in shock. United Kingdom will be in shock. Many countries in Europe will actually be in shock. For the first time, people will begin to kneel down to beg you, and we can turn the tail. We can turn this tail. I have a first caller here. Let me see. Good evening. You are speaking to Mazes, okay? Good evening. You are speaking to Mazes, okay?
Good evening.
Yeah,
Good evening.
yeah, good evening. You are speaking to Mazezoke Live. What's your contribution?
All right, my name is Emeka.
Go ahead. We are listening to you.
What I want to say, sorry?
Go ahead. We are listening to you.
Okay. I've just listened to the channels reporter in UK, and from her report, like you said, there is a lot of, there is a new dimension to this particular Ekweremadu saga. And one thing that gives me a bit of confidence is that this thing happened in UK, and in UK, they don't do things the way we do here in Nigeria. I believe that the legal system or the judicial system will take its full course. It doesn't matter how highly placed or how lowly placed the people involved are. And like they did, like the people just observed, the wife is separated from the husband so that they will give their independent account as to what the intent and purpose is all about. And when these two reports are being placed side by side, the truth will begin to emerge. On the part of the child, on the part of the supposed kidney donor, I am not really convinced that the guy should be a minor, but that is left for the investigative team to really find out. So as it is today, I believe that we are going to see a play out that is going to shock a lot of people. And the Nigerian factor, like you said, there must be a Nigerian factor that played out before the guy head out to UK for this allegedly purpose. But we hope as time progresses in the subsequent court appearances, there is going to be facts that's going to be unveiling, and that will give us a clear clue of what actually transpired. The delegation that will be coming from Nigeria, from the Senate, as the Senate President said today, those things are just political solidarity as long as I'm concerned.
No, those ones want to come on holiday. They add no value. So those ones are
They just want to come and enjoy themselves and have some good time in UK. Those things are not going to affect anything, because I think UK are serious with their laws, and whatever they want to do, it's not like Nigeria where some people are above the law and some people are below the law. So we hope to see an interesting outing in subsequent court appearances. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Now, again, let me quickly respond to Midwest Bendo Great Benin Empire. He says that this young man is still a teenager, though he can be called a man. Mazi, you are biased in this regard. I don't know how biased I am. I told you, he told the police he's 15. His document is saying he's 22. And his facial gauge, if you use the same eye you use in looking at Tinubu and say that Tinubu is more than his age, if you use the same eye to look at that boy, you may agree with me that the boy is in no way, shape, or form 15. But also, I don't know. So, but one thing that you and I should not fight over is whether the truth will be unearthed. I can guarantee you the truth will. This is not Nigeria. This is not aeroplane drivers. These are people who can do their job and do it to the best of, how humanity can imagine. They'll get this job done. Recall that there was a time a young boy's torso was found in the River Thames in London. A boy without neck, without, some parts missing, used for ritual, dumped in the water. How can you ever in Nigeria, without the head, you will never, ever, ever, ever find out. But the Metropolitan Police eventually found out, and the people involved arrested. How did they find out? When an autopsy was done, in the abdomen of the young man, they found remnants of what he ate. Beans. Beans, as in dodo. As in beans. And they took swab. They examined to the point they were able to bring that bean back to Nigeria. With their investigation, with one of the orange shorts that the guy had on, they tracked it, found out that was bought in H&M. They found out the serial, the batch number, was able to track to the point that those who committed that crime were apprehended. In Nigeria, the police officer will tell you, it is the will of God. Even in Nigeria these days, medical doctors, in their incompetent manner, will tell you, we haven't seen this type of disease before. Please, go spiritual house. It could be spiritual problem. That is, whenever you hear a man make such silly comment, someone who studied medicine, if you do not know it might not be your forte to understand what an individual is suffering. But that doesn't mean that it is devoid of medical explanation. Therefore, now only casting and biting that will solve it. Come on. It's marks of incompetence. So for you to say that I am biased in this case, when you do critical analysis, and that is where sometimes many of us who are not into critical analysis sometimes don't understand. Critical analysis does not mean you must only be accusing people or you only look at one side. While you look at side of Ekweremadu, you look at side of the boy. And when I look at side of Ekweremadu and I look at the failings and the systematic failings, which he also presents, then you give thumbs up that is good. Then you look at the child of the boy, then you pinpoint areas of inconsistency. Then someone says you're hypocritical. No, I say, go and read about critical analysis because you look at things from two planks. You look at things from two planks. You don't just focus on one direction. Ensure that all angle, that everything is covered. Not just looking at it, okay, politicians have done that. Of course, they're just like my good friend Dr. Charles Apoki, a video that we also published, talked about. There is no way. There was a time in Nigeria that the Prince of Saudi Arabia, when they get sick, they come to Nigeria. What has happened? What has happened? I grew up, I can't say this enough. There was a time in Enugu, growing up in Enugu, number one, Ekede close. That you open up the tap, you cannot tap in the kitchen. You cannot stop the water from the pressure. You can't stop it with your finger. Water will gush everywhere in the kitchen. The water smells of chloride. Today, the water doesn't run. Today, the people, in the competence is everywhere, not only government. Today, people can finish plumbing in your house. You want to test water. Water will be running, the whole house will be soaked with water. That is incompetence. With those private contractors, government, the only state where people still pay water board, yet every single year there is monies set aside for the water board. Monies set aside for the water corporations, yet no house has any running water. Everybody's drilling borehole. We're just drilling borehole like mad. No one is even talking about, okay, how can we drill one large borehole and distribute water? No. I must have my own. We have never even come to a point of, okay, how can we drill this borehole, fill them up with reservoir so that it serves all of us? No. The communal thinking is there. You tell me, if the British were to still be in Nigeria, let's be honest, Yes, we are independent, but now we are real dependent. You think this mess will still be happening? You know, sometimes, sometimes, you see, Mazi, you're asking what happened to Nigeria. My answer is Fulani happened. I don't want to toe this line of one-line thinking. Fulani happened to Nigeria. Where there are issues with some ethnicity, on some ethnic nationality, but always to blame one ethnic nationality, even in your own induced problem, is too myopic. And that is sorry, you know, that is a line I don't want to toe. Because we have in our villages, what are things that our fathers did before? The basic things. We can no longer do them. We are in control. We are in control of our own destiny. We blame, as the young man said now, we blame the Fulanis. And I ask you, is the Fulani controlling the Anambra state government or the Abia state government? Why is it that your governor in Abia State is building one single bridge for the last 7 years? One, flyover, one. Ebonyi has built 23. Rivers, though Rivers receives, you know, huge, 5 times what Ebonyi receives, so that's fine. They can afford it. But Ebonyi, Abia State receives more. Abia State receives 30% derivation. Yet Abia State cannot complete one. You are receding every single time you're going backwards. Every single time you're going backwards, your governor will come and say, oh, Abia, we need an airport. We need an airport. And I ask you, you need an airport. What of the one Ochindo told us he was going to build before he hands over to you? 8 years later, we're still talking. We are still talking in future tense. In future tense. Whereas we should be talking about in the tense of Ojumeje, past participle. That is the tense we should.
You will be a past participle. Yeah. Hey! Ebu agomia. One day we go me. Say yesterday you are a past. So very soon you shall be past. Party. One day, say tickle. Say tickle.
No matter what you say, we are now in the past party. We are now. You know, I need to calm down because these things, you know, some of us may not know. These things can just sometimes, you know, you get so upset with some of these things that happen. You might go in the past. I'm in the past party tickle. Okay. So people, thank you very much for you to be here. I'll take 1 or 2 questions and I will stop this stream in the next 1 minute, 30 seconds. And Bendel, Mazibin is not Idodo, is Dodo. I said Dodo now. I didn't say Idodo, I said Dodo. Is it? Dodo is ripe plantain. Ewedu, oh, thank you, Bendel. Oh, thank you, my brother. Thank you for that correction. Yes. I like fried plantain, roasted yam, roasted plantain, roasted yam with opaka, and with up wine, the white, the white Jones. When you drink it like this, you'll be seeing the spirit, and you can see the future. See, that's why I see the future. I see ahead because that's my food. Thank you once more. Anyway. Mine's like Mazi happened to Nigeria. Oh yeah, I tell you, like Mazi happened to Nigeria. Listen, if you don't, this is on this issue here. If you think, I'm not saying you must accept my view, but at least every one of us have their right to air their views. And if you feel you do not like my views, by all means you can block me. You know, I'm not. You can block me and bagger off, but I cannot join in your hate. That's the much I can tell you. If you feel that being critical on all sides does not suit you, that your criticism should only be on one side, or your critique or critical analysis should only be on one side, then sorry, I cannot help you. Midwest said, I remember those days the water board used to run. Yes, the water from the water board was a time, it was an era. It was an era we opened the tap. The chloride, the smell alone, Northerner, it makes me to always want to grow up. We were not queuing. I recall that time, one of my elder brother was the marketing manager of Avop cooking oil, Avop. That was the first time we had the yellow 25-liter yellow jerry cans. So we always line those 25 liters in the kitchen. In the bathrooms, we line up the 4 liters or something. No. Yeah, the 4 5 liters with water. When water runs, because it doesn't run every day, but at least there is no 1 week that water will not run 3, 4, 5, 6 times. But today we spend millions. We're only interested in having Hilux trucks, these. It says, I take this question because I like it. It says, my question, Oga Analysis, why are you not humanizing the alleged victim? Answer now, if you can hold a critical debate. The telephone is there. You can also call if you want to have these debates live. And I can also send you the link too. The link is also for you to show your face as I show my face, and let's talk about it. Now, on this, when you have conversations with someone, you agree to do something. The boy is human. I do not know how else I will humanize him, because in this case, I have not seen an abuse. The boy was not physically abused. What we are looking at is that you had an agreement with people, whether induced or not, because I do not know. The humanity in me says, I agree something with you. Did you want to back out at some point? And that's why I say we hold on. When we hear details, because if the boy maybe at some point said, okay, I want to back out, I no longer want to do, and he's been threatened, of course, I would defend him. But if an agreement was reached and he gets to a point, okay, HTML Okoye, you're speaking to Mazes, okay, welcome. It's been a long time.
Mazes, okay, good evening. How are you?
I could not hear that it is you. Your voice is so clear, HTML Okoye.
I know my voice is changed. I got my voice back.
Jesus Christ, if you're doing a voice recognition banking app, we'll lock you out of password.
Well.
So
thank God for that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
go ahead.
What I wanted to say is that I think you're in the media, so I think you're trying a bit to be objective. I understand that, but some of us don't have to see it that way, because what happened. I believe Ekweremadu was wrong in what he did. Mm-hmm. We know how Nigeria works. We know how this young man was coerced into coming to this country to donate his kidney to Ekwerimadu's daughter. We know how these things work. It's not. We cannot pretend that we don't know. We know. Now we are trying to demonize this kid by saying that he lied. Hold on, Mazi. By saying that he lied about his age. What if he lies about his age? So what? That he lies about his age? Is that equivalent to a man of Ekwerimadu's stature? I mean, importing him into this country to take one of his kidney and give to his daughter in a fraudulent way, in a fraud, saying that he wrote to the British embassy, making them aware that this boy is coming here does not absolve him of criminal intent. That does not, let him off of criminal intent. Sometimes criminals can write to people that they're going to steal from. That doesn't mean that they're not criminal. That it's not a crime.
Okoye, no, Okoye. Without prejudice, now I think it would be unfair on both sides not to conclude, because what you and I at this point doesn't know is the court hasn't said. We're only talking about the little we know. The court hasn't said that crime is here committed. And when I said, what I mean is, if someone says this is his age, I have no issues. I have absolutely no issues with the boy being whatever age he is, right? That's in the UK courts where he is now to decide if he was up to age of reaching such an agreement. But the fundamental question that one should actually ask is the child in question in the best of mind to enter into such agreement at the point that agreement was entered into? Which
is obviously it's not in the best of mind to do
well,
so.
This is now being prejudiced because neither you nor myself know about that.
No, Mazi, I know that for sure.
How?
I know how that country works.
No.
You're talking about where we come from.
Of course. The question is,
these politicians are criminals. How can you just say, how can we be protected?
No. My brother, is the person in question. Like I told you where my anger is that we would not, if, for instance, that things were working in Nigeria, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation over this rubbish. Because for me, this is entirely the fault of them that were controlling the system and being unable to do anything tangible when they control the system. The question, but we must take emotion out of, which may not sit well with many people, is very simple. Can we allow the UK, because if you and I have this confidence in the UK government and the UK judicial system, we can be rest assured that if foul play was involved in this, Ekweremadu is in for big trouble, big time. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you dice it. Unless there was eventually, which no one would ever, after all, O.J. Simpson at some point got off the road. So we never know what could happen with big legal issues there. But please, can we stay on this trajectory of saying, this person came here. Before you even come in here, should we have even been talking of coming here? If we were using our brains.
Yeah, that is the fundamental question, Mazi, that you're asking. We shouldn't be here talking about this. If these same people, that's why I really cannot understand people that have any kind of sympathy for Ekweremadu, because I don't have any sympathy for him.
It's not that is it, my brother. Hold on, Mazi. This is not about emotion. This is about facts.
I'm not emotional. I'm just telling you facts because he's a big boy. He's a big boy. He knows what he's doing. So when it comes to the consequences of his action, he should be able to take it. If he's convicted, he will go to jail. I mean, I don't know why people are.
No, but we cannot jail him. No, we cannot jail him on this platform. What we are talking about is hold on.
But if I know that there's foul play involved. There's no way a foul play is not involved. We know Nigeria. We know these politicians. They're thieves. They're criminals. So for him to import this young man here solely to harvest his organs to his own.
No. Okay. Oyenimo. Hold on. Oyenimo. Sorry. Okoye here. Listen to this. You are in the United Kingdom.
Yes, I am in the United Kingdom.
Are you in the organ donor list?
No, I'm not.
Why are you not in the organ donor list?
Because it's my decision. It's my private decision.
Hold on. It's a private decision. But let's say, God forbid, but on your fortunate case that you may need a kidney, liver, lung, any form of transplant,
Yes.
Where would that come from?
I will use the government. There's a law governing this.
I understand it now, but where would that come from?
It will come from whoever that matches my organ.
Exactly. And that will be human being, not animal, right?
No, of course, yes.
No, now take a step backwards. What I want us to do first is, in looking at this, we must first of all understand that this kidney transplant could have been any of us. However, the process, hold on. Listen now, listen. No. It's not about it. It is my program, my brother. Listen, it is my program. Now, what I want us to now do is, it could be any of us. The question that should bother you is the process, because the only thing here is, was the guy induced? If that guy was induced by maybe financial inducement, then Ekweremadu is in trouble. But if he wasn't induced, I don't know why we're having the argument.
Mazi, but let me put it this way. We can. I don't want to rationalize this. I mean, it's not any of us. Okay, it's not any of us. If I do something criminal, I will take responsibility of my actions. I don't like all this. Okay, because he's a Ekweremadu, so that.
No, it's not. Please, can we take Ekweremadu out of it? No, it has not. It's not about the Ekweremadu. What I want us to look at is, can we look at this without emotion? I know that if I want to look at it with emotion, I'll just I'll just basically say,
I understand you want to be objective because you're in the media. You're a media person.
Yeah, but I have to. I have to be objective.
I don't have to be that objective.
Okay, that's no. You don't need to tell me how it is, because fact is what it is. You can tell me how you feel about it. That's how you feel. But how you feel, but how you feel is not how it is.
Put it this way. Perhaps haven't met this boy. You may have got somebody that get this boy to agree to come into the UK to date his organ. But may not even have met this boy. I saw his letter, the letter he wrote to the embassy and stuff. It shows that you don't even know the boy. So it must have been. I know how these people work.
But my brother, you are making an assumption. You see why I like this case. And on this platform, because of the conversation we are having, I would ensure that anytime there is an update, we will keep having the discussion. You know what? That eventually all of us will learn. This is not about emotion. This is about facts.
You're talking about emotion. I say I'm emotional. I'm not emotional. I'm just telling you how.
No, you have already concluded. No, you have already concluded.
Yes, I've concluded because it's the truth. It's a fact. Because we know that these people, these politicians, from evidence, from history, they are bad people. So what good could possibly come from this? That he imported, he picked a young man of 21 from the street of Lagos and got him visa to import him here, coerced him into coming to this country to date his kidney or his daughter. What else do we need to? I mean, I don't see anything else there. Apart from that, Ekweremadu is a big boy, and what he did was he did it knowing the consequences of what he's doing. Forget about the letter he wrote to the embassy in terms of granting visa to the kid. Forget about that. Forget about what the boy said about his own age. If I were in the boy's shoes, I would definitely do the same thing, because I mean, these politicians don't care about anybody else but themselves. Why would the boy think about Ekweremadu? Well, Ekweremadu doesn't even think about him, doesn't want him dead.
No. Fair point there. They don't think about no one. But again, we cannot foreclose without having the facts. And you can see many people, I thank you for your argument now, because many people are now calling. Let me, Okoye, let me take more people here. Thank you very much for your call. Hello, Mr. Caller, where are you calling from? Okay, I have another caller here. Good evening, you're speaking to Mazes, okay. What's happening, people? Good evening, you're speaking to Mazes, okay. Yes, hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Nazi. Thanks very much for taking my call.
Sorry.
So, just said.
No. Before you start, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Njenje and I'm calling from London.
Okay. Today, I like it. It's a London show. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Thanks very much. So just to piggyback on what the previous caller has said, and I've been reading some of the comments and they're becoming quite feisty, some of them. Now the facts are these, right? And I'll summarize because I recognize there's several other people waiting to speak with you. Underage issue is one, right? There is that of inducement. There is that of trafficking, right? And then there is that, which we cannot ignore, of the power disparities in at the point of decision making. Now, I happen to belong to an ethical committee in my institution, which has got to do with how data is collected, right? And as part of that, some of the questions that are asked when researchers want to go into medically inclined research are things like, will organs be part of the research, right? And what are the procedures that have been engaged in or that you want to engage in that ensure that you're going about this ethically, right? Also, there is the argument of the ethical practices of the Medical Association of Nigeria, which impresses on intending donors to go through the ethical processes before the travel to the UK for such procedures that actually happen, right? And as we have come to understand, for some of us who are following the case closely, and I understand you're following it quite closely, there appears to be a gap in that regard, because had there not been a gap in that regard, it becomes unlikely that Ekweremadu would have been arrested at all, because if it was a hospital in Nigeria liaising directly with the hospital in the UK, then it is a question of the guy coming into the UK and going straight to the hospital.
No,
right?
but hold on.
Just to land. Now, at the point of the ethical considerations in Nigeria, the psychological questions, the therapy, the psychological process of evaluating that the guy has capacity to make this decision would have been carried out. Now, has that been carried out? We are quite unsure.
We don't know. No. You see, and I like, thank you very much for this contribution. I like the point you made, because at this point, we do not know if these things, if these ethical considerations, like when the case broke out and we started hearing, people were talking, that he was, smuggled in the United Kingdom. I felt, no, it would have been a straight jail if there was, and there was a question I asked the first day. What was because the first time what we had was, that when the boy came, his kidney didn't match. I'm like, no, it's not possible. So what was the correspondence between the hospital in London and in Nigeria? So in this investigation, I tell people, this is not about emotion, but it's going to help Nigeria. Our eyes will clear. Because there are a lot of things that I said it before today, that sometimes the Nigeria way of doing things, a lot of things are ignored. Nobody's talking about this ethics here. It's not about emotion, because when you look at it, the question you're now raising makes a lot of sense. Where is the medical director of the hospital or whoever wrote the letter? Where is the correspondence? Now, at what point was this boy given psychological counseling, blah, blah, blah?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, at what point did he, from what the report said today, that he ran away and now went to the police? You see where the issue is. So if he ran away, meaning after thinking about what he had agreed ab initio, he's now developing a cold feet, leading to that running away. Now, we would have UK psychologists, professionals that would eventually, speak to the young man. We will. It's getting interesting, but I tell you,
it is interesting, but very scary as well. Because one of the fallouts of this is that it continues to render the value of the Nigerian passport and reputation even lower than it currently is. And the terrible thing in all of this is that the Nigerian elite class are not the people who put us on the world map. It is the artists, it is the academics, it is the students, several of them, who put us on the positive world map.
Exactly.
The politicians,
Destroying it.
Endlessly embarrass us.
Exactly.
Endlessly humiliate us.
I agree with you.
Endlessly put eggs on our faces. Have you tried, Mazi, to travel with a Nigerian passport? You are automatically disrespected at airports, regardless of who you are.
I had an experience one time landing with my Nigerian passport in Frankfurt. We were not even allowed to come into Germany. We were allowed the moment you come in from that kind of tunnel-like stuff. You know, you just basically see your passport, you stand there, and every other person who's been going, and you know, you stand there and you think to yourself, now wow, how did Nigeria happen to all of us? But
These politicians who do that, that's why for several people, and you rightly said, it is very emotional. Yeah, because it falls on each Nigerian who lives abroad. Unless for those who say, for instance, I have some family members who want to hear nothing about Nigeria. You know, as far as they're concerned, they are not Nigerians. But then there's some of us who believe in that country, and it does hurt.
No.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your call. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you see, people, that's a very salient point she made. Wow, so many calls from the United Kingdom. I think, let me call back Onyenimo first, because I think he had called multiple times. Onyenimo, you can call back now. Please, the call is on WhatsApp. I can see the calls coming on my regular landline. I will not be picking my regular landline. Those of you calling from Dubai, from India, please call WhatsApp only. You know, so what I'm saying here, people, I understand that, you know, this could be challenging. It could be any of us. It could be any of our brother or any of our sister. But let's not lose sight of this case, because this case is going to be very interesting. It may eventually define, you know, our relationship within the governed and the, you know, okay, Onyenimo is here now. Onyenimo. You are speaking to Mazes, okay.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. You've been wanting to call. Now you have the floor.
Why did you call that guy Onyenimo? Why did you call that Okoye guy Onyenimo?
Don't worry. You, for calling him Onyenimo,
I need a disclaimer. Please, a disclaimer.
Okay, for calling, because you were calling, so I called him Onyenimo. But for doing that, you owe me a keg of palm wine to cleanse my tongue.
You just a keg. I'll buy you a farm of trees. It's not a problem. Just that guy was on me.
Okay, no. Okay, but let's again on this platform, let's respect each other's opinion while you.
We respect each other. He has his views, I have my views, but it's going on too long. But anyway, I think this topic, as you can see, I mean, somewhat of a hot topic. From where I'm sitting, some of the comments I've made, I think we are speculating too much. Where it's like we put the guy on trial. People are coming for various rumors, facts, blah blah blah. We know that he's been arrested, he's been charged, he's been detained. His case has been brought forward, but it doesn't stop the law. The law follows a certain path. So irrespective of his future case being brought forward in a few days, same way they've sent him back to prison, he's been detained. His wife has been detained. I personally feel he needs to get in place a solid legal team that understands British law.
He's a lawyer. I mean, hold on, Onyenimo here.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He practices law in Nigeria.
And so what?
His own, this criminal law.
No. And so what? Listen, he's a lawyer.
My own stance is he can't represent him.
Yeah, then let him look for this is not you and I. So he can afford it, he can afford it, let him get the best of lawyers. So what, you know, let him, if he doesn't want to get the best of lawyers let him face the music. What will concern me there?
Yeah. So what I'm saying, let's not speculate. Let's whether it's a jury or he's repatriated to Nigeria and our own legal system finds him innocent, and so be it. Right now, it's just allegation.
Yeah,
he's not being found guilty of anything.
And that's the something I was telling my good friend and brother HTML Okoye, that you know, we cannot and it appears a little bit insensitive when someone is being accused of not having sympathy for the boy in question. While I'm sympathetic to the ordeals he's gone through and he's going through, but again, sorry, when it concerns law, the question is, what were the processes done both in Nigeria and here? The legality of it, and at what point was he maybe coerced by virtue of inducement or by virtue of any other thing? Do you understand?
So if you offer me 20 million naira, it's more than likely, you know, even though I'm a underage, I know what 20 million naira is.
Yeah, but in the UK, it's illegal.
I'm happy to be coerced. But it's whether the boy knew what he was doing or not. Truly, it's whether what the boy knew what he was doing or not.
That's why the lady that called before says there are processes to that obviously psychological help should have been given, you know, where doctors, because this is not an emergency, where doctors, because this is a planned, surgical operation, where you'll be told the consequences, and you'll be given literatures to read. Your mind will be prepared. They will tell you how long you might need to stay indoor, blah, 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 blah. You understand?
Yeah. And at this stage, nothing has been removed from his body. You understand? So everything is just stories and speculation at this stage.
Yes, but equally, we need to also, the question is, I don't even know what Nigerian law, I appear to have more insight into the UK law as appears to, doing these things as opposed to the Nigerian.
There's no trial by jury in Nigeria. If you go back to Nigeria,
there are laws regulating other.
The case gets pushed back for 6 years, 10 years, 15 years. The case doesn't go ahead. You understand?
No, but there are laws regulating organ donation in Nigeria. So that's what I was referring to. So was any law broken, like the lady that I spoke to? You see, when we look at this
laws don't apply to everybody in Nigeria.
Because the law don't catch them here now. It must then apply. Because the whole thing is, what is the law in Nigeria if you want to donate? Does inducement only, does it mean monetary inducement, or can maybe go into your village and building you a house, gifting you a house in Lagos could be an inducement as well?
That's what he's going to use the money to do. That's what he's going to use the money to do. But either way, if he entered into a transaction knowingly what he was doing, he's got to the side. I don't know what's happened. He's gone and told his story to the police. They're obligated to investigate.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who you are.
Yes.
They have to hold you.
Yeah, no. Yes.
They'll hold you now.
No, you now go and do the operation by force or what? No, the young man has his right to change his mind. He has his right to change his mind. Give that to him.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if he changes his mind, and if in changing his mind, because one thing that you and I don't know is,
so at this point, no harvesting as they have been portraying it in the media has taken place. Yeah, and this is one of the issues I have is that it's like
but this is about the intention. It is the intent. Now, if the intent,
we don't know his intent. Who knows his mind?
Yeah, but what do you mean? Who knows his mind? It is the intention.
His intention can even be worse than what they're betraying. Nobody knows his mind. Yeah, nobody knows his mind.
No, the intention to harvest. The question is, the intention to harvest is not illegal. It's not a crime. What is then when we talk about crime and legality here? When it comes to the processes of getting to that harvest, if the processes are not followed, sorry again, I say to you, emotions, you cannot handle the one. If the processes are not followed, and if by police investigation and they found out that these things, there are, ethical, non-ethical considerations were made, sorry, there are consequences.
Okay, so one of the earliest stories, and forgive me for talking about the story I heard, was that you've been brought over, they said that it's not compatible, you have to go back to Nigeria.
No. That's what I said. That was the earlier story. No. That was the earlier story. Yeah. But that is the earlier. That was the earlier story.
So it's not a situation where the guy, they had done surgery on the guy, removed his organs, and he gone to complain.
Let me play this. Let me tell you this. Imagine, when I say that this would expose a lot, imagine that story you just said now is true. What does it tell you about your medical practice in Nigeria? Imagine that story is true, but I don't believe it is. But imagine that it is true. It means that a doctor will tell you that this person matches the organ. He tested the blood. He signed it, gave it to the embassy. The things that will destroy both you and I, that, any other person, maybe your mom or my mom or your dad, that would ever want to go to Europe or anywhere to take medical treatment, and any letter written will now be onyokonized, because that's what it is. But I do not believe that is the case.
Unfortunately, that's what happens.
But how can you make such mistake? It's just like telling somebody, I see twins in your tummy. No, hold on. It's just like you going for X-ray. Somebody looks at you in your tummy, say you have twins, and the day you deliver one. How do you classify that?
You may use for instance, I don't know, let me just speculate. You may use a forged birth certificate to get a real passport, to get a real that. So the documents you're using are real. You may go back 4 or 5 stages to a fake document. It happens in the UK, it happens everywhere. And it's not just Nigerians, it's people from all over the world. You see the issue we're having right now with certificates or lack of certificates in Nigeria. So people who thought had an education, all of a sudden don't have an education. So that's neither here or there.
Anyway, let me take the last call, and thank you, Minimo, for this call. I need to run now. Thank you very much, and good night. So, so many calls. Let's make it snappy, people. I will call back now. I'll call back, please. I'm calling you +91. Pick your call. You're speaking to Mazes Okay Live. Can you please off the system or reduce the volume of the system you're listening with? Can we try once again? You're live with Mazes Okay, please. Can you make your comment now?
Yes, hello, good evening.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Yeah, I'm calling from India.
Okay, go ahead.
Issue of this case because I have met some case like that in India here. Some of the guys, they will come here, maybe the patient bring them here for donating a kidney or whatever here. So when they come here, sometimes, if doctor tell them, you will live like this, you will do this like this in future if they take your kidney. Some of them, they run away. At least I have picked like 3 people. One is from Angola. 2 is from Nigeria. 1 from Ubise. So when they come here, they will negotiate the price with the patient. They come here. So when the doctor tell them, this is what you have to avoid, this is what you have to avoid, this thing, they run away. So issue of this case, from the beginning, I still believe that this boy knows what he's going there for. He knows that, but maybe the doctor already told him, bro, this is this is that. He refused. Because sometimes they will come, not even they will run away, sometimes they will even believe on, I want to come here, if I reach here, I will hide. So I have met such a case here. At least some big hospital here in India, like Apollo Hospital, Mass Hospital, mostly our people used to come here for treatment. So that case, if you go there, I have met like many places like that here. So for this show, this boy, I strongly believe that this boy knows everything about that. But he already got there. Maybe find out that this thing will happen in future or whatever. He decided, I don't want to do it again.
Okay.
That's my belief.
Well, again, thank you very much for that insight. We will see as the case develops. Thank you very much for your call. So, people, that's the much I can take. I need to run now. Thank you very much for everyone. On the 7th of next month, we will be looking at that case once more. Thank you all for your insight, and I am still Mazezek, and I say to you all good night. Bye for now.